The NCAA, yet again, needs to get off my lawn.
Just leave him alone.
As of today, the National Collegiate Athletics Association has issued a 4-year show cause order for former Michigan and current Chargers head coach Jim Harbaugh, which means he cannot be hired by a collegiate program without penalty until 2028. Now, many of you will dismiss anything I say as biased since I played football at Michigan, but I'm honestly asking that we all suspend our team fandom for one moment and think about the health of the sport as a whole. Is Jim Harbaugh the type of man we want to allow the NCAA to run out of college football? I get that the guy is quirky and eccentric, and I certainly don't sanction every action he has made, but I can say without question, Jim Harbaugh is a man of character, an individual of integrity who genuinely cares about his players, his family, his faith, and the well-being of the sport. I thought many of the same things about Coach Jim Tressel, even as he was being ousted in Columbus. Is that the type of guy we want to ban from college football? I mean, Urban Meyer could return to college ball today, despite controversial tenures everywhere he's coached. Pete Carroll could return to USC this afternoon. I watched Michigan basketball coach Juwan Howard slap another man in the face on live TV without a word from the NCAA. He can coach in Ann Arbor, but Jim Harbaugh can't. Now, head coaches can't be allowed to violate NCAA bylaws with impunity. Obviously, we can't just badmouth the NCAA every time they try and enforce rules. But if we banned every coach who didn't adhere to every word of the NCAA's convoluted, arbitrary, and never-ending rule book, there would be no coaches left to take the field. The NCAA cheered as Leah Thomas stood on the podium hoisting a trophy meant for female swimmers. They blocked student athletes from profiting off their name and likeness decade after decade. They don't get to use the words unethical conduct in a sentence ever. So as the landscape of college football continues to descend into chaos due to the failed leadership of the NCAA, just remember, we need more coaches like Jim Harbaugh, not fewer. And until you realize that, NCAA, get off my lawn.
What I say on Wednesdays, guys, everybody suspend their team fandom and let's take up for Michigan.
God, do you think Harbaugh was thinking about the Lord when he gave that boy them burgers? You think he was thinking about our Lord and Savior, Dave?
Have you ever had a cheeseburger at the Little Brown Jug? No, but you will. This fall you will.
You know what? I always wonder, what if Harbaugh would have came out and said, hey, it was free burger if you get baptized today. Day. Like, what are they going to come out and say then?
They'll definitely hate him then.
Yeah, no, it's dead sentence.
Did you just see the Olympic opening ceremony?
Did he get run out or did he just leave?
Yeah.
Well, he just left.
Did you run him out?
But now they're saying he can't come back to college football.
Y'all know.
All seriousness, Michigan fandom aside, like, is Jim Harbaugh, does that strike you as the type of guy, man, we got to get him out of college?
No, Jim Harbaugh is like, he's like that weird uncle you got that people make fun of, but don't make fun of him because he's our weird uncle. And he does a good job, and he loves the kids, and not in a weird way. This is what's funny about this to me. So Jim Harbaugh gets his natty at Michigan. I'm out. I'm sick of going to the Thanksgiving dinner table and seeing John with that Super Bowl ring. All right? And he beat me for it. That's the only way I'm going to win Thanksgiving again. That's really what I think Harbaugh wants the most. But he leaves, off to Sunset, Michigan. You're a legend, 15-0. You know, here we go in the arms of the angels. Thank you, Jim. But then the NCAA, you're going to punish him like, I've never seen somebody, he didn't even fail up. You exiled him up. This is like saying, nope, you know what? Not only are you exiled from Sandals in Jamaica, we're sending you to an all-inclusive 5-star stay in the nicest place in the world. So there. This is like getting a call. This would be like me getting a call from an ex-girlfriend I had in high school demanding alimony money from me now, and we never got married. Like this. Do you think Jim Harbaugh cares at all that, oh no, I'm here with the Chargers, I can't go coach college football again till 2028. That was the plan anyway. The plan really was to never coach college football again. So to me, this is just like vacating wins. It's a meaningless punishment.
It's a nothing burger.
It's a meaningless punishment. This is just to make you look bad. This is, hey, I'm not going to win the case, even though I know you cheated on me and I want a divorce. But you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to stand out in the middle or in the front of your house in your neighborhood next to all your neighbors now and have a sign that said, Greg cheated on me. Greg cheated on me while I was
It can't be nothing, right? Because there were actually rules
there's
that
actually
were
rules.
broken.
No, I'm saying, but
I'm
like,
just
this
saying, like,
isn't the
doesn't the
punishment.
decision-making seem to be arbitrary? I mean, I just go back to, again, that incredible run that USC had. Those teams we talk about with Reggie Bush and the national championships they won, and then Pete Carroll leaves. It was a very similar fashion. Pete Carroll leaves, goes to the Seahawks. All of a sudden, the hammer comes down on USC. Pete Carroll's not really named in any of that. They take Reggie Bush's Heisman Trophy away. They vacate all these wins. From
Everybody
USC,
got hurt
Take
but
back
Pete
the
Carroll.
national championship, and like Pete Carroll could go back and Pete Carroll could go be the general manager or the head coach of USC right now.
Yeah,
Like, I
dude.
don't understand.
Yeah, Bobby Petrino just Arkansas just rehired
And that
Bobby
was for
Petrino.
things that are now legal
Well,
in the game.
Here, but
right?
David, like, you know what would have been much more effective if they would have said, you know what, we did the punishment last year, you know, with Jim Harbaugh. You already punished the guy. Like, you sat him like important games in their biggest year ever. They were able to overcome it. But you would have gotten more of an effect if the NCAA just would have called a press conference and been like, hey, look, we already punished Michigan. Jim Harbaugh's not in college football anymore, but we want to just let y'all know he's a bad guy. Jim Harbaugh is a cheater, and he's always going to be known in college football as a cheater. We're done talking about this. That would have way more effect than this.
Some guys you try to drag through the mud just become bigger.
Just become martyrs.
Martyrs.
Like
That's
you
all
martyred
it is.
them?
And it's to the point now where it just looks like the NCAA is doing whatever they can to drag Jim Harbaugh through the mud. Were their rules broken? Yes. I mean, we saw them suspend. I think the actions that they did were justified. I don't think there should be.
I think they broke a rule. I think they got punished for it.
But
Exactly.
again, this is for like COVID stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it's all, but again, it all goes in the same bucket of it just really seems like y'all hate Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, so to
Like,
your
what-
point, why should a school, because Michigan self-imposed that 3-game suspension at the beginning of the season, why would a school ever agree to punish their coaches if you're just going to give them a 4-year show cause at the end of it
well,
anyway?
do we see this in like any other like walk of like life? Like, let's say somebody on
The IRS.
that owns a huge company, the CEO of a huge company gets caught insider trading, right, with that company. They punish that guy. They don't sit here and say, all right, hey, JP Morgan, all right, we know that Clint went and left to this other firm, but we're going to punish JP Morgan for the stuff this guy did with insider trading while he was here. We're not going to punish him anywhere else. It's like the entity gets in trouble, and I know they're saying, oh, Jim Harbaugh can't coach, but he's not there anymore. Like, it just, again, it's no.
Well, this is for all college. He couldn't go be the
I
head
understand
coach
that, but
at
he's not
Stanford
in
now.
there anymore. Like, it's like, oh no, if I get fired in the NFL, it'll probably be 3 to 40 years. If it doesn't work out, I can probably just stay in the NFL and get recycled as a coordinator or something, because that's what happens up there. I don't think Jim Harbaugh ever wants to come back to college football. That's why I think this punishment just does nothing. Doesn't move the needle.
You stole a candy bar out of the gas station, then moved 10 states, then they just call
They
it.
want to
Yeah.
arrest your whole
Then
family.
you get a ticket in the mail saying you
I
can't
guess
go back
that's the
to
best
Indiana
way.
for 3
Yeah, the
years.
penalty doesn't ever seem to match the crime with these people. I guess the last thing I'll say on it is, like, I'm not a huge fan of Lane Kiffin or Deion Sanders or like the way they go about their business necessarily, but I think they're good for college football. I want to see Lane Kiffin could go coach in the NFL again right now. He could go be either a head coach or certainly an offensive coordinator. He could take the NFL path and say, I'm done with this NCAA and recruiting and all that. Lane Kiffin being a head coach in college football, I think, is good for college football.
I agree with
It makes
that.
it more interesting.
And there's different
just
ways to be good
these
for
guys
college football.
who played football and played quarterback for their alma maters, like, why wouldn't you do everything you can to keep these guys in the game when you know they could go run off to the
For sure,
NFL?
especially as much as the game's changing. But there's categories of like guys that are important to college football and the way they go about it. We need the funny, trolly guys, right?
Yeah.
Like the Lane Kiffins, guys like that. But we also need the kind of dorky, quirky guys. We need the Brian Kellys, the Gus Malzahns, right? You need to protect those guys and kind of the way they go about things. I just think Jim Harbaugh loves college football. I still think he loves college football. I do deep down think he wants what's best for the players, but he wants to win, right? And he's going to do whatever it takes to win, or if he's got to bend the rules a little bit, obviously he'll bend them. But I just think this is so overdone. This does nothing. This does nothing. How did this change the way Jim Harbaugh went about his day today?
I promise you, all right, if the NCAA wanted to, whatever big Power 5 school, if they really want to look into you, they can find
For
something.
sure. It's like politics.
If you don't think your team's doing it, buddy, I promise you, yard.
It's not just about cheating. I mean, just think about the 40-hour of practice week rule. Like, what are you talking
They
about?
can find whatever.
Like, you could go in there right now. Go into Georgia's program right now and see how many hours the guys are at the practice.
Everybody finds a way.
Because they're trying to be the
every other
best.
avenue of life. That's just the way it works. Hey, YouTube, if you dislike pizza and ice cream, don't subscribe to this channel.